Today I will be doing a long-term review of the 2015, or just generally, the Subaru WRX CVT platform. This has been a much asked for video and I thought I'd put it out there. And for those of you guys can see what's in my car next, like I said in my last video, we got a video coming out this weekend where I'm putting these 4 things on my car and it should be super fun. So please disregard the huge amount of mess that's in my car right now. They will be going over to the shop tomorrow to get put on, so that should be a lot of fun. Let's get right into it. So, long-term review of the Subaru WRX CVT platform. I'm currently in my 2015 Subaru WRX Limited CVT. I've driven this car for about 13,000 miles, which I think is long enough for me to give you a pretty darn good idea of, is this car for you? How do I feel about the car? Kind of a general review and pretty much a long-term review of the car. I haven't owned this car for years, but I've driven the car for about what the average American will drive in a year. For those of you guys that follow my channel, you know how I feel about this car with respect to my daily commute, and I'm going to be doing this review kind of disregarding my 90-mile daily commute. So I'm going to be giving you kind of a review of what it would be like if I did not have a 90-mile in-traffic daily commute. And before we get started with this review, like always guys, if you want to see more automotive content or more WRX content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Do I love this car? Yes and no. And I know that's a terrible answer, but let me defend myself. I love this car because it's the most convenient sports car that I've ever owned, and this car is all about convenience. Now the WRX platform is great, and I'm going to assume that you're watching this video because you've already decided that you want to buy a WRX and you want to go with that great, sporty, performance-oriented, all-weather, basically perfect platform to drive and to kind of build that enthusiasm. But one of the things that really sets the CVT apart from the manual is the convenience of owning it and the convenience of driving it. It's a great all-around car that lets you do things like let your family drive the car. Friends, family, being able to drive the car is huge for me. It's huge for a lot of people out there. And having something that's automatic allows anybody to drive it. Also, if you're commuting, this would be a great car to make a daily commute really fun. Other than that, if you don't plan on tuning your car, the manual versus CVT are very similar. Speed-wise, performance-wise, sportiness, they're pretty much the same stock. The manual might have a little bit more if the driver's really good and really knows their car, but other than that, they're very similar cars. So what's my takeaway if I wasn't considering my daily commute for a long time review? Would I really own this car? Probably not, actually. I think one of the things that really draws me to this car is that I'm able to drive through traffic because I live in the city. I'm able to drive through traffic really comfortably and really conveniently, and it's something that I can still enjoy my ride. Like, obviously, I'm in a Subaru WRX. I think it's a great car. And if I didn't have that commute, I'd probably have a manual. And I see myself having 2 cars in my lifetime, at least 2 cars. I don't have one now, but I think I'll have a manual and an automatic. And an automatic for all those reasons I just described, why the CVT is a great car in the long term. But in the short term, I think the manual has more of a, there's a little bit more fun to be had there. Now that might change as transmission changes and all that type of thing, but specifically for the WRX, let's go back. The manual can take more power, is tunable, you can get some good power and get that thing going really, really quickly, and the manual transmission can hold it. So what's the real difference between these 2 cars is the transmission, obviously, but it's kind of their potential. So I'd say in a long-term review, I'm a little disappointed with this car and the transmission simply because I'd love to tune it. And I'm already, I'm only 12,000 miles, 13,000 miles into ownership, and I'm already looking at manuals, leasing a manual, potentially buying a wrecked car and rebuilding it for the reason to get more power. I love this car so much that I want it to be my platform for making a huge build, something that I'm going to have for a long period in my life, that I'm going to drive it until it blows up or something like that, until I can't drive it anymore. And I think that's, when you build a car, that's really what you should intend on doing. You should intend on having it forever or for a long period of time. And I think that in and of itself describes the WRX platform. It's perfect. It's hard to hate on these cars. I think the WRX CVT, the first 6 months of ownership is the best because you're so shocked with what the car can do out of the box that performance really isn't something that you're like, wow, I really need to find more horsepower, I really need more torque, I really need to go faster. And then I think after 6 months, if you definitely, if I wasn't in the position that I am where I have this long commute, I think 6 months would have been like, all right, I need more power because I want to go faster. And that's just the game that I play myself as a car enthusiast. I look for power and things like that. Now, that's not for everybody, but that's the long-term takeaway, right? You really want to enjoy this platform and really enjoy what the WRX can offer you. Those conditions have to be met if you want to choose the CVT and have fun over the long term. Now, it doesn't just have to be family and a commute. You may just not want to drive a manual, and if you're keeping the car stock, this is a heck of a fun car. And obviously it is, because I'm sitting in it and I own it, and I don't plan on getting rid of a WRX CVT anytime soon. This car may not stay here for too long. I may upgrade to a 2019 or the 2020 when it comes out, just to keep the channel and content relevant. Other than that, I really love this car, and I think I would keep it for a long time. But my commute may not always stay that long, and I may chase more power. So yeah, long term, I think this is a great car if you have, if there are circumstances that make you want to choose a manual. Like if you were going to buy an automatic anyways, this is the perfect car for you. But if you're somebody that really likes to push their car sometimes and really wants something to have fun with, and you just want to have, I think there's just this complex that often I want to have the fastest car on the road, that a manual is probably your best bet. And I think that's the takeaway. Like, I want a manual at some point. I want a manual WRX, and it's just situation right now is keeping me from doing that. I do also want to say one thing, and this is not even about the car. The community behind the WRX CVT is great, and there's a lot of negative for the CVT in general within the WRX community. But if you dive a little bit further into the WRX community and you find other CVT owners, it's like a family. I've never seen it in the car community. And when I first bought this car and I found those Facebook pages, one and two Facebook pages specifically, you just get this family of people that all appreciate the car. They know exactly what they bought, why they bought it. They enjoy the car. They really do enjoy the car. And I think that's a great part of owning this car. And yeah, so I'm really happy with this car. I hope this video answered all those questions. To everyone that's been asking me, how do you feel about the WRX in the long term? I didn't want to give you a straight answer being like, I love it or I hate it, because I think there's more stages to than that. There are parts of me that want the manual for power, and every other part of me wants the CVT for convenience. And it's just a balancing game, and I'm sure that's going to change. It's never always going to be even. Sometimes, like if my commute shortens, power is going to go way up on the scale and convenience is going to go way down. And if I for some reason get even a longer of a commute, it's going to adjust further. And just it's a change. It's a give and take. That's the best way to say it. And we'll see what happens in the near future. Who knows? My commute might shorten. I think there's a really good chance my commute might shorten, and that might happen before I pick up another WRX to have two of them. So yeah, guys, if you want to see the progression of somebody that owns both a manual and CVT, stay tuned for the future of this channel. I hope to answer all those questions and do a great job kind of comparing the two and helping inform decisions. Thanks for watching, guys.